Hey guys, welcome to Petrol Ped. So today we're going to go out for a test drive in the Audi S4 Avant. Hopefully by now you will have watched the overview of the inside and the outside, but let's go and see how it handles on the road, shall we? Okay, so here we go. Let's have a drive of this S4 Avant. So first thing we're going to do, just while I wait for the temperature and engine to warm up a little bit, we're just going to be driving in normal auto mode. Lovely B road ahead of me, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the just general driving of this car. I guess the first thing is, essentially from a size point of view, it's an A4 estate, so really practical, lots of room. I'm a tall guy, I've got plenty of room in here. These are fully adjustable seats, so as well as sort of forward and back, they do go up and down, so just to give me a little bit more headroom, I've generally put my seat down a little bit as well. But plenty of adjustment in the seats, which is really lovely. So we're starting in just full auto mode, driving along. From a drivability point of view, I mean, it's a great engine. It wasn't an engine that we chose to have in the car based on fuel economy. There are 2 and 3 litre diesel variants of this car with S-line trim, and you can get the Quattro 4-wheel drive as well. That will deliver fuel economy figures well into the high 40s, maybe even 50 miles per gallon. For me and my other half, we wanted the performance, so opted for the full S4 version. So up front I've got a V6 3 litre petrol engine with supercharger. Delivers 333 horsepower, and that's a lot of grunt. I've had some really nice fast cars in my time, and 333 horsepower is a lot of grunt. And the great thing is the fuel economy isn't too bad. Now, if you've got a diesel car, keep your laughter to a minimum here, but you know, we can certainly deliver 30 miles per gallon, 35 if I'm driving nicely. I did hit 36 or 37 once, but then I did have the space saver wheel on because I had a puncture and I couldn't do more than 50 miles an hour, so that's probably why. If you push on, however, then there's no way you're going to do 30 miles to the gallon. You know, 20 is much more likely. So as I said in the overview when we were looking at the gearbox, we've basically got 3 ways to drive this car. You can have it in full auto, which I've got now. It's, you know, for anyone who's driven an automatic box, it's the normal sort of don't have to think very much. You've got a pedal on the right to go, pedal in the middle to stop, and that's pretty much it really. It will always, where possible, try and get you into the highest gear. So I'm now doing sort of, you know, 45 miles an hour down a B road, and I'm in 6th gear out of 7, and it will always try and get you in that higher gear for economy and so on. If I need to accelerate, I can kind of kick down. I can just push the throttle down a little bit more, and it will kick me down. But that's normal automatic gearbox. For motorway driving, for relaxed driving, it's fantastic. The problem I have with it is because it's always trying to get into that higher gear, when you go into a tighter bend that might in a manual car be maybe a 3 or 4th gear corner, you're still going into it in a reasonably high gear, maybe 5th or 6th. And when you accelerate out of that corner, you generally drop down a couple of cogs within the gearbox, and there's just that kind of, it's not smooth necessarily, and I'm not a big fan of that. So the second way of driving this car is to put it into sport mode. So all you need to do for sport mode is just drop the gearbox, the gear lever down to one notch like that. There's an indicator on the dashboard that now says an S in front of the gear I'm in, so I'm currently in 5th gear, but I'm in sport mode. A couple of things happen to the car now. So first things first, it's a much more aggressive throttle mapping, so I've got much more power under my foot and ready to go. But the second thing, and the thing I really like about sport mode in this car, is it hangs onto the gear a little bit more. So I'm now currently driving on a road like I was before. In full manual mode I was up in sort of 6th gear. I'm now in 5th gear because it kind of understands how fast I'm going and holds me in that gear. and that's what I really like about it. And it's spooky actually, the way that this car works out what gear you need to be in. If I need to accelerate, I just accelerate now. So I've now dropped straight down into fourth, and away I go. And it holds the gear much longer. So, you know, instead of sort of changing gear at maybe 4,000 RPM, it will hold it up until 5, or if you're really pushing on, all the way up to the red line at just after 6. It's just dropped down a gear now. I'm going up a hill. It says, well, you need a little bit more go. I'll put you into fourth gear, and it's holding me in fourth gear as I'm coming up this hill, and I like that a lot. The final thing that this gearbox does, which is absolutely superb, is if you come into a corner and you brake, as you're decelerating under braking, the gearbox will change down, will auto blip the throttle to make that sort of new gear come in more easily. So it sort of auto blips on the downshifts, puts you in the gear you need to be on the entry into the corner, and then you can power through the corner in the gear you need to be in. And I find that gives you a much better exit out of the corner, and then as you drive away, clearly you'll upshift into the appropriate gear. So the sport mode in this car is really clever. It's a little bit more juicy in terms of petrol consumption, obviously, but you've got that sort of the performance and so on is much more on demand, and I like that very much indeed. The final way to drive this car is maybe the most sort of fun, the one that's certainly closest to driving a manual car, and that's to use the two paddles behind the gear, behind the steering wheel. So in order to do that, I can actually, in either manual or sport mode, just select a paddle, and it will start to do that manual gear shift. If you do that and you're in normal sort of automatic mode, and you kind of forget to change gear, or after a while it will, if you like, revert back into the normal auto mode, which is okay. So I'm in sport mode. I'm now going to basically go into full flappy paddle mode. So I'm in third gear. If I do that, then we start to hear that little blip on the downshift. Maybe you've got that. And now I've got my indicator on the dashboard now says I'm in M, which is M for manual. And I can upshift and downshift. I'm just coming down to a little junction here, so let me get and it'll just blip on the downshift. So I'm just going to turn left here to get away from all of these cars. So upshifts are amazingly quick, really. So okay, so a bit of a point of view drive. So first thing, I'm in full auto. I'm going to try and demonstrate, if I can, this moving up the gear. So I'm now in 6th gear. If I were to just come into this corner, just accelerate away. See, that's just dropped down into 3rd, pulled me away, that's all good. And now it's gone back up to 5th again. So it's that kind of movement between the gears that I'm not a big fan of in auto box mode. So if I put it into sport mode, it's straight down into 4th gear, and I can pull on through here. If I start braking, just change down into 3rd automatically for me. No driver intervention there at all. So the final thing, and I don't know whether it comes out on the camera here, is this car has a party piece. The party piece is the noise that engine makes. I've got a completely stock exhaust on here, but if I just give it the beans, it just sounds absolutely superb. Real throaty roar. But the party piece, and what I'm going to do is stick a GoPro on the rear of the car to see if I can pick this up, is when you change gears, you come up sort of up into the high end of the rev range, and you change up a gear, it makes this delightful kind of farty noise. And I know it's very childish and very immature, but it's absolutely excellent. And you end up, when you're in this sort of manual driving mode, there we go, manual driving mode, you end up driving to kind of make those little farty noises as much as you can. Well, at least I do, because that's me being childish and immature. But it's absolutely fantastic. You can hear the downshift there, and then Typical. When you're filming for your YouTube blog and you come up behind a transit van. Damn. So let's have a talk about how good it is to drive as a car then. Well, I'm a big Audi fan. I've had a couple of TTs, I had a Mark 1 TT and I had a TTS before the Mini, and I love them. All of those cars were Quattro four-wheel drive, as is this one, and I really like it. Now if you read some of the reviews and so on, very often people will talk about Audis not having a great feel. They maybe prefer the feel of a BMW, maybe a little bit more sort of sporty feel. What I love about Audis is you can push on this is a really nice twisty B road. You can push on safely. You've got loads of grip, absolutely loads of grip. If you ever lose grip in a Quattro Audi on a public road, then you're driving too fast, basically. So they give you a huge amount of confidence, and that's what I love about it. In terms of this particular car and the performance it has, well, for me it's mind-blowing. I like fast cars, and you know, the pursuit whenever you get the new car is to try and get something a bit quicker than the last one. I would love an RS4, and I'm sure I would think that was fantastic, but I have to say, if you want a car that's going to get you from A to B as quickly as you can, this is it. This is just such a great car to do that. Acceleration is awesome. So 0 to 60 time is around about 5 seconds. The mid-range accelerations from sort of 30 to 70 and so on for overtaking are absolutely astonishing. So you know, if you want a car, there's nothing more frustrating when you come up behind a car on a 60, let's say, you know, 60 mile an hour limit, and that car is, I'm just going to put it back into manual normal selection mode, just while I'm doing this talking. You come up behind a car and you're doing it's doing 40 and a 60, and you just want to get past it quickly, this is the car for you. It's so safe to just drop a couple of gears, really quick acceleration, and you're past that car. So I like that very much about the car. What I would say, and if you've seen the road test I've done of the John Cooper Works Mini, the thing I love about the Mini is that I can push on, and you can have great driving experience without going stupidly quickly. What I would say about this car is if you push on, then you really do need to be careful and keep an eye on the speedo, because you can easily, and you know, in terms of having this on a track, you could easily get to 100, 120 miles an hour in this car without really realizing you're going that quickly. And obviously that is you know, that's going to lose you your license. So you can push on, you can get a nice pace down a B road, enjoy the car, you can overtake really easily, but you do have to be a bit careful in this car. It's as fast a car on the road as I think you'd ever need. And the really cool thing is you can do that with 5 people in it and a boot full of luggage, or in our case a dog, and you can cruise, and absolutely mind-blowing really. And you think back 10 or 15 years, the kind of car that you would have to get this performance is unbelievable really. This is a family estate car. So there you go, the Audi S4 out on the road. I just love this car. It's practical, it's comfortable, it goes like stink, puts a big grin on your face, very different from my other one over there, but absolutely superb. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Please make sure you subscribe. I'll put a link just up there. And also, if you wanted to see the overview video for the S4, I'll put a link just there as well. Please put some comments in down below if you want to give me any feedback on how I'm doing. It's obviously quite new to me. I'm just starting up this channel from scratch. But please subscribe, join me on my journey, follow me on Twitter at Petrol_ped, and we'll see you on the next adventure. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.